thousands of unbelievably brave Iranians have taken to the street throughout the country. They are protesting Iran's dictatorial leader, the Ayatollah Khomeini, as well as the country's massive inflation. Iran's inflation rate is a whopping 42%. The current unrest is an explosion of a steadily building discontent. Back in June, the U.S. joined Israel in a campaign to take out Iran's nuclear program. But just today, Reuters reported that Russian President Vladimir Putin spoke to Iran's president about their nuclear program after a stark warning from President Trump.
Iran may be behaving badly. It hasn't been confirmed, but if it's confirmed, look, they know the consequences. Consequences will be very powerful, maybe more powerful than the last time.
Also today, the Trump administration announced new sanctions against Iran and Venezuela, targeting companies making and selling drones. Putin is a vital oil exporter to Venezuela, and he condemned Trump's embargo and seizure of Venezuelan tankers, offering solidarity with the Venezuelan people. Here to discuss the new axis of evil is Janatan, Sayeh, FDD Iran program research analyst, and Victoria Coates, former deputy national security advisor to President Trump. Thank you both so much for being here. Janatan, you have family in Iran. What are you hearing?
When speaking to folks on the ground, whether it's family or former activists that I'm in touch with, the main sentiment is that even though the main trigger was economic, the implications are inherently political. And that's what we've seen with the Iranian protests. Even though it might be a social trigger like we saw in 2022, or whether it's economic like this wave or 2019, ultimately we see protests and protesters coming together, not calling for reform and not calling for policy change, but actually demanding regime change. But what really sets this wave apart from previous protest movements is the fact that the Iranian people are increasingly less afraid of the regime's repression and the repressive apparatus following the 12-day war, because of how Israel and America were able to effectively decimate Iranian both military and nuclear capabilities. From the Iranian perspective, ordinary folks on the ground no longer see this regime as untouchable. So we're seeing a new wave of protesters led by the youth, of course.
How incredible. Is it your sense and the feeling of your family that this time it could succeed in actually creating a regime change?
Ultimately, there are a lot of factors for us to actually arrive at the point of regime change. We need to start with protests, and increasingly, another factor would be strikes led by people that, whether they're business people or the labor force within Iran, that would be the second wave. And of course, what's really important is external support. It is very important to really supplement President Trump's maximum pressure policy with a maximum support policy for the Iranian people, providing them with VPNs, Starlink internet, and different tools so they're able to actually maintain this battle against this regime, which is inherently unfair, given that one side has the strongest repression arm.
Now, Victoria, the president has had this maximum pressure approach, but he's also left the door open for negotiations. I want to play you something that he said when he was with Bibi Netanyahu on Monday.
I heard Iran wants to make a deal. If they want to make a deal, that's much smarter. You know, they could have made a deal the last time before we went through, a big attack on them. And they decided not to make the deal. They wish they made that deal.
Victoria, explain to our audience what the president is doing here by both opening the door to the deal, but also making it clear that he will not tolerate nuclear arms from Iran.
No, Bacha, I mean, that is exactly what the president had done during the first term when he gave Iran every diplomatic opportunity to come to a deal, to improve the so-called JCPOA, the Obama-era nuclear deal, which was a terrible deal. And he was like, we can't let this stand. He gave them every opportunity. They refused. We pulled out of the deal. This time, we had a similar situation where he said, sure, we'll talk if you will get rid of your missiles, you'll get rid of your terrorist proxies, you'll get rid of your nuclear research facilities, you can reopen to the rest of the world. We're open to this. They refused because for the regime in Tehran, the crown jewels are both the IRGC and the proxies and the nuclear program. So they're not getting rid of those things. That's why we had to strike in June. And the president's made it clear that he'll strike again if we have to.
I think one of the things he really showed with the bombings recently was that you can actually have a proactive approach to protecting your people without getting involved and enmeshed in one of these forever wars of regime change that are no longer popular. Victoria, from your point of view, how can we support the brave people of Iran?
No, absolutely, this is the case. We don't have to get into World War III, but we can take targeted action when necessary to defend the vital national security interests of the United States. And to Jonatan's point, I mean, one of the things we've advocated for from Heritage for a long time is encrypted internet access on a satellite-based system for the people of Iran so they can communicate. This is essentially, Bacha, this is exporting free speech. This is our brand. And this is not an act of war in any way, shape, or form. And so if we can do that for the people of Iran so they can take things into their own hands, this isn't our errand. This is theirs. They've done it within historic memory. They can do it again.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.